always started a sermon with a joke, usually ended the sermon with a joke.
And I don't get up there and linger and with non-preparation. No, they're prepared. There's a message, there's something to be told, there's something from the gospel to be learned, and that's it. That's the way it should be.
After 48 years, Reverend Msgr Francis Smith at St Raphael Parish is stepping down from the pulpit. His last day will be June 30th.
I said, there's some people who want me to bury them, but I said, they're not going to die before I leave here. I said, they're not going to cooperate. I said, that's between them and God God's the one that makes it up.
Those who know him are well accustomed to his sense of humor. Louis VILLALOBOS has been a parishioner at St Raphael for 30 years.
Kept me here. He married my wife and I 45 years ago at St. Joseph as a young priest. He'll always share stories of his childhood in Chicago, his brother who was a detective. And I think we grew up with his family because he always shares a story with us.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go?
Chicago. Msgr Smith grew up the grandchild of Eastern European immigrants who came through Ellis Island and were renamed Smith when no one could say their given name, Schvedis. It was here the Msgr went to Catholic schools and ran the streets with his brother Freddie, just 10 months younger.
My mother was tough on both of us in raising us. My dad was a hard-working steel worker, very hard-working. He died at an early death at 71.
Freddie went on to work for the Chicago police for 43 years. Toward the end of his life, and living in a Catholic Charities assisted living home, he made friends with one particular retired priest who also lived there.
My brother worked his district in Chicago, and they swapped the stories about the things that happened in that district. And Freddie enjoyed him very much. He enjoyed the priest very much. And then, of course, he always name-dropped me all the time. My brother the priest, my brother the priest.
I think it's his Chicago working-class upbringing which has really driven his approach to life in the priesthood.
Ben Mac Diamondstein is a good friend of the Msgr. Diamondstein is Jewish, but attends Mass a few times a year with his wife and daughter.
You got to talk about religion, right? We talk about it quite often, right? And one of the things that really attracted me to Frank was he takes this notion of the Judeo-Christian heritage very seriously. A lot of people pay lip service to it. For him, it's an article of faith. And you can tell when somebody's maybe not as genuine, right? He is.
And he's not a believer in wasting time. The man has been called Smith 45 by parishioners for his short services.
It depends if it's a long gospel. It may go 50 minutes. And I've got to have an interval. And I'm not making an excuse, but I've got to have an interval in between where I can get a little bit of rest. This is one reason why I'm retiring. My legs are giving out, and it's part of the neuropathy in your legs. And that's, I just can't stand for a long time.
And so, Msgr Smith will step away, eager to retire to his Socorro home and the woodworking shop he plans to play in. But don't be surprised when he makes an appearance in the near future.
I can't just walk away. I'm not that way. There are too many friendships here that I've had. I've got people who come up after Mass and they've cried and they told me this. I said, I'm just taking a little time off, but I'm not dying yet.